Welcome, fellow builders. We'll be diving today into the intriguing world of round TFT displays coupled with an ESP32. This diminutive display, when paired with the power of ESP32, can bring an incredible amount of character to your projects. To demonstrate this, we're going to use the lifelike animated eye, making it blink and gaze around. We're not going to stop there. We're going to create a set of uncanny eyes, one on each display, giving your projects an added depth of expressiveness. I will walk you through the wiring process, show you how to bring the uncanny eyes to life, and teach you to replicate the process for a second display. So grab your ESP32, your round TFT displays, and let's add some eyes to your electronic projects. Let's get started.
You're not authorized in here.
I bought this round display model at AliExpress, and I've dropped the link in the video description. It's quite cost-effective with a price tag hovering around just $5. The display has clearly labeled pins on both sides of the display. What's even more convenient is that it arrives with header pins already soldered in place, so it's ready to be used on a breadboard. The second display I picked at Amazon, and again the link is in the video description. This one has a much higher price tag, around $20. And it has no header pins. It comes with a GST connector and a cable, so it's not compatible directly with a breadboard. To make it breadboard friendly, I use standard prototyping DuPont female wire that I insert into each end of the cable. And this is how it looks when I have inserted the DuPont wire into each cable connection, and I have secured each one of them using electric tape. And even though each display has different types of connections, they both have the same specifications. The screen size is 240 by 240 pixels. They support up to 65,000 colors, and both are using the SPI and the GC9A01 driver. So let's start with the wiring of the Waveshare model. So the one I bought at Amazon. So I'm using this model of the ESP32 microcontroller, and maybe you have a different model with a different pin configuration, but it doesn't matter as long as you follow this table where I show the screen pin description and where it goes on the ESP32, the GPIO pin on the ESP32. As long as you follow that table, you're good to go. So the VCC pin on the screen is connected to the 3-volt pin on the ESP32. The ground pin on the screen is connected to the ground pin on the ESP32. The DIN pin is connected to GPIO 23, and sometimes on some models of round display, the DIN pin is also called SDA. The clock pin, the CLK pin, is connected to GPIO 18, and the CLK pin on some model is also called SCK or SCL. So your model may have a different description. The chip select pin, the CS pin, is connected to GPIO 15, the DC pin on GPIO 2, RST pin on GPIO 4, and the backlight pin, this one, it's used to control the backlight of the LCD, but I never use it in my project. It's never connected to the microcontroller. You can connect it if you want to control the backlight of your LCD screen, but on my part, I never do that, so it's up to you. Now we're going to look at how to wire the model from AliExpress. And if you've done your wiring on your side, you can stop there because on the next chapter, we're going to upload the code for the one eye setup, one display, one eye setup. And after that, we're going to add another display to have the 2-eye, 2-display setup. So for this display, the VCC pin of the display is connected to the 3-volt pin on the ESP32. The ground pin of the display is connected to the ground pin on the ESP32. On this model, the clock pin is called SCL, so it's connected to GPIO 18. On this model, the DIN pin is called the SDA pin, so it's connected to GPIO 23. The DC pin is connected to GPIO 2. The chip select CS pin is connected to GPIO 15. And finally, the RST pin is connected to GPIO 4. And you will notice that there is no backlight pin on this model. So on my side, I wire the AliExpress version first, and this is how it looks when the wiring is completed. It's time to prepare the code for the Arduino IDE, and this is my website. This is a GitHub repository, and I've put the link in the video description. So you go to that website, and you click on the code menu, and you download the code as a zip file. You choose download zip here. It's going to download all the file in a compressed zip file. You open your download folder, and you just have to extract the files. So I'm going to extract it into another folder. And we have to rename the folder. So if we try to open it without renaming the folder into the Arduino IDE, so this .ino file is the main sketch, it's the main file for the project. So if we double click on it, so it's going to open the Arduino IDE, but we now get an error because the .ino file needs to be inside a sketch folder named the same name as the main sketch file. So what we have to do is you click cancel, close the Arduino IDE. So we're going to paste. So I do F2 on my keyboard, copy the name of the file, go back to the download folder, F2 again to rename it, and I paste the name of the main sketch file. So I go back inside the folder, I double click the main sketch file, which is this one. And this time the Arduino IDE will open without any error, and we're going to see the code. Next, we need to make sure that the TFT SPI library is installed into your Arduino setup. So this library is used for displaying graphics on different types of TFT displays, LCD displays. So you go into the Arduino library manager, this icon, you click it, and you search for ESPI here. And you're going to see this library, TFT ESPI by Budmer. And it's already installed on my Arduino setup. And if it's not installed on your side, you're going to have a button like this, an install button. So click it to install the TFT SPI library. Now we need to configure the correct driver in the TFT SPI library to be able to use the round display. So let me show you. You right click here, you select go to definition, go down a little bit on the file, you see here the include user setup select, right click on it, go to definition, you're going to see an include with user setup, right click on it again, go to definition, and here the default driver defined is the ILI 9341 driver, which is not the right one for the round display. We need to select this one, so we have to comment this line and uncomment this line. Now, if you try to edit the file inside the Arduino IDE, let's say, for example, I want to comment this line with 2//. I got a message saying that I cannot edit, it's read-only. It's a read-only file. So we need to edit this file outside the Arduino IDE. So this file is actually, if you go into your documents folder, so go into your documents folder, open the Arduino folder. Inside the Arduino folder, you will have a libraries folder. Double click on it to go inside, and you're going to see the TFT SPI library. You open it, and inside it, you will see the two header file that we need to modify. So to modify them, we're going to modify them into Notepad. So right click on the first one, user setup.h, open with Notepad. So we're going first to comment this line because we're not using this driver. And we're going to uncomment this one, which is the GC9A01 driver, which is the driver that we need for the round display. So you close this file, save it, and now we're going to open the user setup select header file in Notepad. And we're going to locate the GC driver, which is this one. So the GC9A01 for the ESP32, you uncomment it. Close the file, save. Now we're going to make sure that everything is correctly selected. So if you see here in the user setup header file, with the color coding, we can easily spot that the driver is correctly defined. It's uncommented, and I have no other driver uncommented. You just have to have one driver activated, uncommented. And if we go to the user setup select header file, we go down a little bit, we see that this one is uncommented, so it will be used. And we have to make sure that we don't have any other include or other driver that are selected. So you just have to have one driver uncommented. Okay, now the code is ready to be uploaded. So you go to the main sketch, which is this one, and make sure you have your board selected, your ESP32 board selected with the right COM port. And if you don't have it, you just have to select it in the list of boards. So mine is already selected. And I'm going to upload the code. All right, the code is uploaded, and you should see on your display an eye gazing around. And if you see anything, if the screen is still black, make sure that you have the correct wiring. Go back to the chapter where I show the wiring for the display. Look at the table and make sure you have the good pin correspondence between the display and the ESP32. And now we're going to add another display to the setup. And if you like the video so far, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Adding a second display to our setup is very easy because all the pins of both displays except just one are going to the same GPIO pins on the ESP32. So the VCC pins of both display are going to the 3V pin on the ESP32. The two ground pins of both displays are going to the ground pin on the microcontroller. The clock pin of both displays is going to GPIO 18. The DIN and SDA pins are going to GPIO 23. The DC pin is going to GPIO 2 for both displays. And the RST pins are going to GPIO 4. So for the first display, we already connected the CS chip select pin to GPIO 15. For the second display, we're going to connect the CS line, the chip select pin, to GPIO 14. So the magic will happen when the microcontroller will choose which display to show an eye by using the chip select pin. And here is how it looks on my breadboard for the setup. And you can see that I reuse the same rows as the first display for the second display to make the connections, except for the chip select pin. For the second display, the chip select pin is GPIO 14 that you see at the top. Now go back to the Arduino IDE because we need to do some changes in the code for the second eye to show on the second screen. So we're going to make that changes into the config.h file. and you're going to change some things in that file. So first, we're going here to specify that now we have two screens. So you change this number to 2. And we're going to specify here that the first display is connected, the CS line is connected to GPIO 15, this one to GPIO 14. Here we're going to change the number of eyes to 2 because we want 2 eyes, one on each display. And here you can change the rotation of your display. If the eye is showing not correctly on the display, you can change this value for both display, and you can change it. You can try a zero value, a 1, a 2, and a 3 until the eye is in a good orientation on your display. There's one other place we need to make a change before uploading the code. So if we go to the user setup header file and we look a little bit further down, we're going to see that we have a definition for the chip select. We need to comment that line in order that the chip select that we define here in the config header file take precedence. So we need to comment this line 169 on my screen. So you go back to the TFT SPI library, and we're going to open the user setup in Notepad. So we need to locate the CS line where it is defined. A little bit difficult to see in Notepad. So it's here. So I have to comment this line by adding 2// and save it. We also have to modify the GC9A01 driver. It's in the user setup. So it's setup 46, this one. You open it with Notepad. And we have to comment this line, the CS definition, with 2// save it. Now it's time to upload the code and try it. So you go to the main sketch and hit upload. If you get the upload error like me, what you need to do is to disconnect the power from the second screen. So you disconnect the VCC line from the 3-volt pin on the ESP32. And now let's try to upload the code again. So it's connecting and uploading the code to the microcontroller. Code is now uploaded, and what you have to do is just reconnect the VCC pin of the second screen. And now you should see one eye on each display. And there's another problem you can run into. If you're seeing one of the eye moving rapidly like this, it's because you forgot to comment one of the chip select CS definition in the driver. So go back into the Arduino IDE and make sure that in the user setup select, you don't have any CS defined that are uncommented. So look around, you can make a search also. So these are not CS definition, chip select definition. You go to the user setup and you make sure that you don't have any chip select that are uncommented. This one is commented, that's okay. So maybe you have this one that is uncommented. So all the TFT-CS lines should be disabled, commented, like this one, it's disabled. So look around, make a search, and make sure all of the CS definition are commented and re-upload your code. And now you know how to use the Round TFT display with the ESP32 microcontroller, and even how to use two of them with one microcontroller I have other video on my channel regarding displays. Go take a look at them, and thanks for watching.